The new Mavic 3 Enterprise has recently just dropped. So how does this thing make itself the new king of photogrammetry? Let's find out in this video. Hey guys, Dylan Gorman here. Welcome back to another video. And before we hop into this Mavic 3 Enterprise, I quickly just want to thank all of you guys for over 20,000 subscribers recently. And since then, I have built this brand new studio that I'm in, so I'm super excited about all of the new content that I'm gonna be pushing out from right here. Now, let's talk about the Mavic 3 Enterprise and why I think this is going to be the absolute king of drone photogrammetry. But before that, let's go ahead and get all of the relevant specs of this drone out of the way. Coming from the Mavic 3 body, this drone is basically the same thing. Same shape, same collision avoidance system, and even same flight time. But that's pretty much where their similarities end. I think one of the most obvious changes about this drone is the PSDK port here on the top of the drone, which allows you to connect multiple different modules such as the RTK hat that I already have on here, alongside with a speaker, and hopefully more to come in the future. Additionally, the Mavic 3 Enterprise and Mavic 3 Thermal, which I don't have here, just the Mavic 3 Enterprise, also comes with a beacon on the back, which I absolutely love having the beacon. I use it all the time with my M300. It allows me to see the drone at further distances, and considering how tiny this drone already is, having that beacon whenever doing large mapping missions comes in clutch. Now, probably the most important change on this drone compared to the Mavic 3 and the Mavic 3 Cine is the camera on it. It is still the same micro four thirds camera, same telephoto lens on the front as well, but the biggest change on here is that mechanical shutter. Now, if you don't really understand what a mechanical shutter is or why it's important for drone photogrammetry, whenever you're flying the drone at fast speeds, anywhere from 15 to 25 to even 30 miles an hour, if you don't have a mechanical shutter, you're gonna get what's called motion blur, or this jello effect, which for mapping, you don't want that at all. You want your photos to be sharp, accurate, and crystal clear whenever you're looking at those images, and especially whenever you're stitching hundreds of photos together. If you have all these warping and this motion blur, you're gonna get this mess of an orthomosaic, which is not what you want whenever doing drone maps. So the last time that DJI has done something like this in their drone was for the Phantom 4 RTK, and everybody loves that Phantom 4 drone with that 1-inch massive sensor that it has. Now this comes with the micro four thirds, which is just that much better in terms of the quality that you can get whenever capturing photogrammetry missions. And probably one of the biggest changes for the Mavic 3 Enterprise compared to the Mavic 3 is you get the Enterprise version of the smart controller. The biggest difference here is it has a little bit more antennas inside of it so that you have better connectivity to the drone. Additionally, you also get the Pilot 2 app compared to the DJI Fly app of the Mavic 3 or Mavic 3 Cine. Within the Pilot 2 application, it unlocks the drone's fullest potential in terms of having waypoint mapping, mission planning, and all kinds of other things that you typically wouldn't be able to get on the DJI Fly 2 app. On top of that, what's great about having an enterprise drone is DJI releasing its SDK. And already Drone Deploy has an application, it's still in beta, that works with this drone out of the box, which is a huge step up from the Mavic 3 drones that still don't even have third-party support because DJI hasn't even released the SDK for it. Now, why don't you say we go ahead and jump in the field and get this drone up in the air.
All right, so now that we're here at the test site, this is actually one of my client's properties that we've done multiple tests here before for testing different platforms. And in testing other platforms, I actually brought out the Inspire 2 X5S alongside with the Skydio 2. The reason I brought those other two drones out is, one, I wanted to compare against another DJI drone that I typically always use whenever doing drone photogrammetry. And then also I wanted to get a competitor to DJI to show that there's no bias here. Really wanted to throw all three of these drones into the same environment and show you why the Mavic 3 Enterprise is going to be out these two drones with ease. And with the Mavic 3 Enterprise, I'm going to actually be flying it in RTK mode. Now you may be wondering, why RTK? Well, when you're trying to generate highly accurate and geographically accurate, and not visually accurate, model to be able to tie all kinds of data sets to when working on the site, it is imperative that you have a centimeter accurate model. And now that RTK is a bit more accessible compared to the other drones in the past, like the Phantom 4 Pro RTK, alongside with the Matrice series that DJI has had out, I figure that this is a great opportunity to test out RTK. Now, you don't have to have the base station that DJI sells. That base station alone is about $3,600 plus the tripod that you need to put it on. And so typically kits used to be very expensive. You're talking about $10,000 plus to be able to get an RTK capable platform. Now all you have to do is just spend just about $4,500 to get an RTK enabled drone. And luckily, because I'm in the state of Florida, I get access to the N-Trip RTK network that they have here provided by FDOT, which is Florida's Department of Transportation. So your state may also have that available as well. I know states like Ohio and Alabama also have free RTK networks. So be sure to check with your local Department of Transportation to see if they have that available. So with all that being said, here are the parameters I'm gonna be flying. I'm gonna be flying at 160 feet altitude with all three of these drones. All three of them are also gonna be flown in drone deploy, so that there's no bias in terms of using the DJI Pilot 2 app or even some other third-party applications that, you know, one of them may work on but the others may not. That way we have a fair playing ground for all three of these drones. So why don't we go ahead and get the Skydio 2 up in the air, followed by the Inspire 2, and then finalizing it with the Mavic 3 Enterprise, and then I'll see you guys back in front of the computer.
So now that we're back from the field and we're in front of the computer here, I've already gone ahead and got all three data sets from the Inspire 2, the Skydio 2, and the Mavic 3 Enterprise already uploaded and processed in Drone Deploy. And if you guys want to go ahead and follow along, be sure to check, there's 3 links down below in the description. You can go ahead and check out these data sets yourselves as well. So with that being said, let's go ahead and just take a look real quick and let's do some spot checks and see the visual quality between the 3 different drones. Spoiler alert, there's really not that big of a difference in terms of the visual data, but when we actually jump into the geographical accuracy, you're gonna see the massive difference between all 3 of them. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at the Skydio data set here. And just quickly, I'll bounce between the 3 different data sets here. So here's the first one, the Skydio, then we have the Inspire 2, and then following along with the Mavic 3 Enterprise. These were all generally captured around the same time. I did have some clouds come over at the end of my last flight, which was the Skydio itself, but these were all captured within 35 minutes of each other. So let's go ahead and look at the Skydio demo here. So already, I mean, the data looks really good. This is already visually usable, but due to the smaller sensor size and the smaller megapixel inside of the Skydio 2, mind you, it's not using the full 48 megapixels that it advertises. It's actually using closer to about 12 megapixels of that sensor. So it's not gonna be as clear as the other 2 drones, which you'll see here very shortly, but overall, it still looks really, really good. Now jumping into the Inspire 2, this is the second flight that I did right after the Mavic 3 Enterprise, so still had some sun out here, but again, these were all captured on the same day, and you can already tell that this imagery is much clearer overall compared to the Skydio, as again, Skydio only has 12 megapixels. The Inspire 2 with the X5S camera that I flew with has about 20 megapixels, but again, overall still looks very, very good. And then finally, let's go ahead and look at the Mavic 3 Enterprise. Again, data looks absolutely fantastic. And it's roughly gonna be about the same quality visually as the Inspire 2, as they're both basically the same camera. Obviously one has the mechanical shutter, which I already praised about how that is a big advantage when doing photogrammetry compared to an electronic shutter. But overall, they're both micro four thirds sensors with 20 megapixels. So they should be generally about the same resolution here. So to start out, let's go ahead and show exactly what I mean by the actual physical accuracy of the map. So here I'm looking at the Skydio demo here that I did, and we can already see the RMSE is already 3.5 feet of general accuracy. Our X and Y are pretty large margins here, and our Z axis, which is our vertical axis, is almost 2 feet off. And looking at the report here, we can see our average GPS trust is about 32 feet of accuracy, which is really not that good. But overall, the data set, again, is visually pretty good for the Skydio 2. I honestly don't really use this drone that much for mapping, as I actually had a lot of issues capturing my model today with a lot of signal loss and controller connectivity issues. So this site really wasn't even that big. It's actually more of an average size site compared to some of the other properties that I typically do out in the field. And even then, I had some issues. Now jumping into the Inspire 2, its RMSE is about 10 feet, which is far worse than the Skydio 2. Our Y is almost 19 feet off of accuracy. Again, our average GPS trust is about 32 feet. And yeah, so just like the Skydio 2, the Inspire 2 visually looks great, but geographically sucks for it unless we tied it to ground control points, which again, that's another step that you have to take. And if you're out bouncing between multiple different sites, whether you're on a construction site or you're doing some AEC work, having RTK is just gonna help you get that data a whole lot quicker with a whole lot more accuracy that goes into it. And speaking about that accuracy, let's go ahead and take a look at the Mavic 3 Enterprise. And we can already see our RMSE is about 1/10 of a foot of accuracy, which is basically survey grade accurate for drone photogrammetry. Again, I'm not a surveyor, so I can't claim that it's survey grade accurate. There's a whole lot more data that goes behind it and a whole lot more science that goes into qualifying this as a survey grade accurate model. But There's a reason why surveyors are choosing to leverage an RTK-based drone like the M300 compared to some of the other drones in the past, as again, that workflow of tying to ground control points is just an extensive workflow where you can get it down really quickly, but not as quick as you can do with an RTK-enabled drone. So let's go ahead and look at this PDF report. Our average GPS trust is about 1/10 of a foot of accuracy, which is absolutely fantastic. Scrolling down here, our actual RMSE is less than 1/2 of a foot, which is phenomenal. I mean, you can literally take this GeoTIFF, this orthomosaic, throw it into a program like CAD or Esri or ArcGIS, and this should line up almost exactly with any drawings that are on the site, or even if you're gonna be doing drawings after the fact. I mean, you can do some incredible data processing and manipulation with the data that you can get out of an RTK drone compared to some of the other drones. And like I said, if you want to get access hands-on to this data sets that I just captured, be sure to check some of those links down below so you can actually look at them on your end, as you may not be able to see everything that I'm seeing on my end. So be sure to check those links down below. So something a little extra for you guys to also consider about a drone like this, or at least the capabilities that you can get out of a drone like the Mavic 3 Enterprise with RTK enabled, is leveraging that RTK data. Now, why should you consider RTK as an add-on for your services that you provide going into 2023? Well, now that it's a bit more feasible to acquire compared to the other drones in the past that I have talked about, the data that you're able to get out of it, not only can you get extremely accurate, right, less than 1/10 of a foot of accuracy for your GeoTIFFs, but the data manipulation that you can do with it is insane. So some of the basic data sets that you can extract out of drone photogrammetry is that high quality GeoTIFF that is geographically accurate, but you can also extract the point cloud that you generate from your orthomosaic. You can take both of those files and throw it into a cloud platform like Airworks. Now, if you guys don't know anything about Airworks or heard anything about them before, it is worth checking out, and you guys can use the link down below to see what they're all about. But high level overview is the data that you can take from the drone, satellite imagery, and even large format photogrammetry from fixed wing airplanes, you can take all of that data, bring it into their cloud platform, and process it into planimetrics and topo map, and really leverage this data in a way that you've never been able to before. Now, granted, you've always been able to generate those kinds of files, but leveraging something like Airworks, where all of that work is done on the back end using AI and ML, and using some of the crazy technology that they're using to process this data in ways that would typically take a college degree and many, many years of understanding how to build those specific models. And on top of that, this just adds another depth to some of the services that you can provide as a drone service provider in the industry. Not only are you able to create highly accurate maps with something like this, but the deliverables that you can take away from it, let alone the flexibility that it allows you to operate in multiple different industries with ease. Now, obviously it's not a pick up and go and now you're gonna make $100,000 a year off of it. You still have to have the fundamentals of building a business, building relationships, and understanding how these different file types work and operate in different industries. So that's probably one of the biggest reasons why I would recommend looking at a system like this. The same concept also applies to other RTK drones that are prevalent in the industry as well. So what are my final thoughts about the Mavic 3 Enterprise? Well, if you own a Phantom 4 Pro, a Mavic 2 Pro, or any other drones that don't have RTK capabilities, I consider that you throw all of those drones away and jump to this platform. Yeah, it is a little bit more expensive than your standard consumer drone, but that's why this is not aimed as a consumer drone, right? This is in the enterprise suite of DJI's products, but this one is a bit more feasible compared to buying something like an M300 that's gonna cost you $15,000 to $20,000 to get fully set up. I believe the RTK capabilities in this drone is its biggest selling point, alongside with the mechanical shutter that it also comes with. And I can't wait to see this drone really take the industry by a storm. I'm definitely gonna be pushing this on top of all of my pilots that I have within our network, as I want us to deliver RTK capable maps for all of our clients. And lastly, speaking about photogrammetry, next year, I'm gonna be hosting up to 40 different workshops in 40 different cities all throughout the state. So if you ever wanted to learn about photogrammetry and learn really the fundamentals, the different applications that you can use it for, different industries that use photogrammetry, and really everything underneath the sun that has to do with drone photogrammetry, well, you're in luck. So if you wanna learn more about it and see the schedule for next year, be sure to check the link down below, or even just reach out to me on LinkedIn, on Instagram, and even sending me an email. And with that being said, if you guys enjoyed the video, please be sure to give it a like. If you want to see more from me in the future, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.